Good morning, members and community members. We have figured out the YouTube problem, so we will be going live and starting the meeting in a matter of moments here. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies for our late start. We had some technical difficulties with our YouTube. During a declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and in-person attendance limitations. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx, an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching it on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone, or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants are automatically muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. For all those who are waiting online, please ensure that you have called in with the phone number that you originally registered with. If you call in with a different number, you will not be able to speak on that item. To ensure audio clarity, I suggest that you do not use the speakerphone function on your telephones. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Alan Smithies, and I will chair today's meeting. Joining us on the panel today are Ron Hunt, Asif Khan, Paul Kidd, and Nadini Sankar Peralta. City staff are also present: Jenny Kotas, Adam Wills, and Daniel Antonacci. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone attending today who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because Committee of Adjustment and the T-Lab will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, it may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body or in some limited circumstances to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, LPAT. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the committee's decision. The hearing procedure is as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if desired. If the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak on that item. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, is given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute limit. When addressing the committee, please state clearly your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters described in the application. The applicant or agent proceeds first and will make their presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. To ensure that a revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes, the committee may decide to defer the application if it has been substantially revised. Then individuals, either in support or opposed to the application, are invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, The applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the previous speakers. This marks the end of discussion on the item. The application is then taken into committee for a decision. Members of committee, I have minutes from our previous meetings of the 10th of September 2020 and the 4th of December 2020 that need to be adopted. Could I have a motion on adopting those minutes, please?
Members,
So moved, Mr. Speaker.
members, as a note here, we're having some bandwidth issues, so some of your screens aren't being presented. At this time, we can only see Asif on the screen. Everyone else is, live and their video is going, but we are having bandwidth concerns here at the Etobicoke Civic Center. So if you could just announce your name and if you are the one that is putting the motion forward in the meantime, thank you.
Thank you. I would like to move that minute as mentioned by the chair be adopted as circulated.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Khan. We have a motion from Mr. Khan to adopt those minutes. Can I have someone to second that motion?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Hunt seconds those. Those minutes are adopted. Thank you very much. Are there any conflicts of interest that the members would like to declare for this morning's agenda?
None.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll proceed to the first item on our agenda. That is item number 1, 79 Florence Avenue. I have 2 people registered to speak. And the first person is the agent, Babak Haji Gassemi. Are you there?
Hi, yes, Mr.
Yes,
Chair, I'm here.
Mr. Gassemi, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Babak Haji Gassemi. I'm the agent for this application. My address is 142 LAUDERDALE, Unit B.
Okay, thank you, sir. Before you start, I noticed that we have a report from City Planning dated the 11th of February. They're recommending that your applications, both consent and the variances, be refused. We have Development Engineering report dated the 29th of December. They had their standard conditions listed if the application's approved. We also have a report from Urban Forestry recommending refusal due to your application's impact on city-owned trees. And we also have a letter from Councillor Filion dated the 2nd of February. He's actually supporting planning's recommendation to refuse your application. Sir, would you like to, in view of these reports, would you like to defer your application so you can discuss the matter further with City Planning?
No, I'm aware of all the oppositions. We would like to proceed with the hearing. Is there a chance I can share my screen to have a presentation?
Okay, well, what I suggest you do, sir, then if you can give us a presentation on, we have one other person registered to speak, so if you can give us a presentation on your on what you see as the merits of your application. I also focus on the comments that we've also received from City Planning, okay?
Okay. Is it possible if that I can share my screen?
It is not possible to share your screen, but we as city staff can bring up any particular item you'd like to show that was submitted before the cutoff date for submissions. If you want to show plans or anything like that, we're more than welcome to do so.
Okay, if we can pull up our plans, please. I would appreciate it.
We're bringing them up now. Continue with your presentation.
My name is Babak Gassemi, and I'm the agent and the designer on this application. We are applying to do a severance at 79 Florence Avenue. We've had multiple projects in this area over the past years. We've worked on many projects on the first block. I know it took a long time until the city actually coming to a conclusion that these 25 footers are very present in the area, and then they changed the zoning. However, what's happening right now, there is lots of changes are happening on the second block of these streets off of Young Street. Many of them have been refused at the Committee of Adjustment. However, if you look at the merits of the zoning requirements, they actually comply with the zoning bylaws that are applied to this very laws on these streets. Just an example, if you're looking at our site plan, both our exterior side yard setbacks are complying with the zoning bylaws. We are asking for a variance for interior side yard setback. The building length is very comparable to a 50-footer, a house that would be built on a 50 feet wide frontage on this lot. And the other variances, actually, they're identical, such as building length and so building height and so on. Now, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. I'll just ask the committee. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none.
Mr. Chair,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair, I do have a question for the applicant, if I
Yes,
can.
Mr. Kidd, please proceed.
Yes, on the site visit, I noticed that the property adjacent immediately to the west, and also the property directly across the road had similar applications. They had the notices up for hearings earlier this month. I just wonder if you know what happened to those applications. They were for 25-foot severances as well. They're quite similar to your application.
Sir, there have been 5 committee applications on Florence. Unfortunately, all of them got refused. However, two of them got approved at TLAB. There have been other approvals on TLAB in the second block. That's why these 25-footers are starting to be present in the second block. We are actually the third lot from the intersection. The first lot is a 25-footer. The property next to us, 55 Florence, that is coming to. They also applied for a severance. That is, I think their hearing is going to be a month or two from now. 83 Florence applied for severance. 88 and 84, they all applied for severance. The thing is, sir, the demand for more affordable housing is something that we should not ignore. People cannot afford $3 million, $4 million homes in this area anymore. I have our sign in front of one of the projects on Johnston. It was a severance, but in the first block, you have no idea how many calls we receive from people, not from agents, that they need these 25-footer homes to be built because they just can't afford these gigantic homes anymore. We are just like 5 minutes from the two main business intersection at Young and Shepherd. There's condominium developments, townhouse developments right around the corner. I don't see why these 25-footers would not be allowed, and I don't see if they have an adverse impact on this block and this neighborhood.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any further questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chair, just so the committee members know that on February 11th, number 83 Florence was refused by the committee for severance.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Secretary.
Can I ask questions?
I'll move on to our
Mr. Chair?
registered speak.
Mr. Khan would like to ask a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who was that, Mr. Hunt? Mr. Hunt, I'm sorry. Please proceed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Oh, Mr. Khan.
Mr. Kasami, my question is, I heard you that you're saying that there were applications in your neighborhood or in the vicinity which were refused. Sir, my question is very simple about your variance number 1 and variance number 2. Sir, do you have a lot coverage of 7.6 and lot area 300 in your vicinity?
Sir, just the block on all the lots back into our property on Cameron. I don't know if you guys had a chance to actually drive on Cameron. There's probably 75% of the lots are 25 footers or 30 footers. 30-foot lots, they look identical to 25 footers. And the lot frontage, our variance number 2, our minimum lot area is over by 70 square meter. That's only 5% of the minimum lot area required for this area. We don't have any variance for our lot coverage is actually is comparable to bigger homes that are being built. It's only 32%. Yes.
You didn't answer my question. Anyways, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Khan. Any further questions of the speaker? We'll move to the next deputant on our list. I have a Marshall Mednick. Are you there? Marshall Mednick, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, it's Marshall Mednick. I'm at 74 Cameron Avenue.
Thank you. If you'd like to tell us your views on this application?
Certainly. So I have mixed feelings about these severances. You know, I understand that, you know, smaller houses will be less expensive, and that's good. But at the same time, you know, this particular property, as you know, there's 2 mature trees in front of it, which I don't think should be taken down. And there was actually a property on 82 Cameron in the exact same situation, where it was a 50-foot lot with a tree, and the severance was allowed, but I guess the forestry department wouldn't permit the tree to be taken down. And it's been going on now for several years. And now you have a situation where you have a tree in front of a house with a garage that's been built, and you can't access the home. And I believe the developer is living in the home because he can't sell the home, and it looks ridiculous on the street. So that's the first concern, is that these trees are going to be taken down. And then, well, you know, if the forestry, their recommendation is to reject the application, but if it's allowed and forestry still doesn't allow the tree to get taken down in years, then, you know, how do you, like, we're back in the same situation where we are with 82 Cameron Avenue, 80 and 82. And the other concern I have is, as you mentioned, there's other homes adjacent right next door. Well, there's 3 50-foot lots. So potentially you're talking about having 6 homes, 25 feet wide each. And that's just the whole neighborhood doesn't look like that. I understand the neighborhood, it's changing and we want to improve it, but I don't think it would look right to have, you know, 4 homes, 6 homes, 25 feet wide each. It's a very mixed neighborhood where you've got, you know, variable lot sizes all around. So it's going to make the neighborhood look different. And my last concern is street parking. There'll be less parking for cars, I guess, if you split these lots, and obviously the concerns about traffic and concerns about, you know, where are these people going to go to school? Like, our schools are already full. So I don't know if we can accommodate, you know, even more housing. But that's my main concern. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chair, I do.
Yes,
It's
Ms.
Sankar
Sankar, please.
Peralta. Yes, sure. Through you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask the speaker, this feels like deja vu. Were you present for the last property that was on Florence Avenue? I recall some of the same sentiments for the last hearing, where we had a similar problem and similar property within that area. Was it you that testified?
Yes,
You're right.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just, I was going to ask because you try to treat everyone as its own, every property and every application that comes in individually. And so I'm trying not to think of what we had done for the last one, but there was extreme good reason why we had denied that one. This gentleman was asked by Mr. Khan about the surrounding area, the properties itself. And he had said that on Cameron Avenue, which is the avenue you say you live on, there's a number of 25 foot lots, that it was severed to that dimension. Would you say that that's accurate? Because the last time you testified, I think you said that it was at Florence Avenue. That was not the landscape, and that concurs with the findings of the staff report. So I just wanted to hear from you in looking at this property with its own merit. Is that true about Cameron Avenue? How do you feel about that?
So in terms of Cameron Avenue, I don't know the exact numbers. Right? I don't know the numbers of how many 25 footers versus 50 footers, all that stuff. But just looking down the street, there's definitely a few 25 footers, but no, I can't really comment. I don't know. I don't have the statistics, and then Florence, obviously I don't live on Florence, but I drive across it all the time. I know I can't really answer that question. I don't know. Sorry.
Okay, no.
I just don't want to give you information that's inaccurate.
All I was getting at is this severance seem to be characteristic of that surrounding neighborhood.
Not this part of the neighborhood. I would definitely say east of Botham, that neighborhood that's been rezoned to allow them. I think that's more indicative, but not this section.
Okay, thank you.
There's a drive to, obviously there's a motivation to want to do it, but it's not, I don't think it's the standard.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank
sir.
you.
Any further
Thank you.
questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Please do.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chair, I do believe that, I try to treat every property individually with its own merits, but, the staff has been clear about their report. They've done a lot of investment in looking at the area, and sometimes an area is not this very expansive section. It could even just mean one street with its streetscape in that proportion. So for that reason, I still stand behind my decision on the last property as I would with this one. I motion to refuse this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion?
Ron Hunt seconds.
Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Khan and Mr.
Yes.
Are you in favor?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'm in favor, Paul Kidd.
great. Thank you very much. Sir, your application has been unanimously refused. Thank you very much. Item number 2, 200 Fairbank Avenue. I have 2 people registered to speak. I have a Maggie Bassani is the agent. Are you there?
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Yes, Ms. Bassani, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Maggie Bassani at 181 Bay Street.
Okay, thank you, madam. I just wanted to mention there was a city planning report dated the 3rd of February. That report indicates that they have no objections to your application, but they indicate that they have recommended consent conditions. There's also a development engineering report dated the 4th of January. They also indicate that they have no objections to your application, but then they have recommended conditions. And have you had the opportunity to read those reports, madam?
Yes, I have, and we're agreeable to those conditions recommended in both the engineering and planning reports.
Okay, thank you, madam. I just wanted to mention as well, there's also a letter from Bell Canada dated the 9th of February. This is for your information. I note that they require an easement, and I guess that's for your action and information. Have you had the opportunity to see that one as well?
Yes, sir. And I would also note that there is a subsequent letter from Bell as well, dated February 24th, that was filed with the Committee of Adjustment. I know that it was posted online, but I'm not sure if it has made its way to each member's packages. And that February 24th letter confirms that they are satisfied for this hearing to be approved at today's hearing. We have resolved that issue with Bell through a letter that the applicant will undertake to review and provide that easement as required subsequent to this hearing.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam. We have one other person registered to speak on this item, Madam. So if you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Certainly. And if I may ask the moderator to pull up the brief PowerPoint presentation that I had submitted prior to today's hearing, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
It'll be up in a moment. Continue.
Thank you. So this is an application to sever a large industrial site into 2 parcels. The lands are generally located on the north side of Castlefield and west of Dufferin Street. And in your packages, there is a draft R plan. It's an annotated R plan with color-coded, so you both in blue and green, so you can easily see the 2 parcels that we are proposing. The lands that are shown in blue on that annotated R plan have, at the rear of the property or to the north, these lands have been developed with a self-storage facility. So it is the site, that retained parcel has been developed. And if you can, if you can pull up the PowerPoint, please. Oh, yeah, that's okay too. We can use that. And yeah, so the lands you see in blue are the lands that have been developed with a self-storage facility. The green parcel you see there is currently vacant. Both parcels will continue to have frontage on FAIRBANK Avenue, which currently terminates at the subject site. No variances are triggered as a result of the severance, and this was confirmed via a zoning notice from the city zoning examiner. And given the location of the property at the terminus of FAIRBANK Avenue, a number of easements are also proposed in connection with this severance to facilitate both pedestrian and vehicular access, as well as easements for servicing. And so you can see on this draft R plan, there are various parts that have been identified near that terminus, near the frontage along FAIRBANK Avenue. And if the committee has any particular questions about each of these individual parts and what they have been identified for, I'm happy to answer those. But these parts are for servicing as well as access. I would also note for the committee's benefit, what you see there on the draft R plan, that circular shape, that is a cul-de-sac that has been constructed by the landowner at the city's request as part of the development and site plan approval process for the self-storage facility that exists on site today. And that was constructed at the city's request to help facilitate the turnaround movements of snowplows, because currently FAIRBANK Avenue, it was previously a dead-end street with no way for vehicles to turn around. So that's what you see there. And then I would also note that prior to the submission of the consent application, we worked very closely with city staff, including planning staff, engineering, and transportation, as well as Toronto Water, to ensure that any of these technical matters with our proposed severance are addressed, and primarily dealing with the proposed servicing. And as you pointed out, Mr. Chair, we are pleased to advise that engineering staff have no concerns with our proposed servicing and or access easements. And in your package, there is an overlay of the servicing plan with our draft R plan, so you can see how each of the proposed parts on the R plan relate to the proposed servicing easements required. And also in your package, there is a site plan that was approved by the city as part of the development of the self-storage warehouse on the blue parcel. And as noted, thank you very much. And as the planning report noted and acknowledged the vacant parcel there has always been identified as a future separate development parcel. And so you can see there where it says future development area. So this was approved by city staff as part of the development of the self-storage facility. And so, you know, I would reiterate that we are pleased that we have city staff support. We have not been contacted by anyone, nor am I aware of any other objections from neighboring landowners. And I submit to you, to the panel here, that the severance would conform to the official plan, complies with the zoning, and is appropriate for the development of the site. And there it will be and maintains adequate access from both a servicing perspective as well as from physical access as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll move to our next deputant. I have a Henry Ehrlichman. Are you there, sir? Mr. Ehrlichman, are you there?
Members of the committee, Henry is present and he is unmuted. Henry, if you'd like to go ahead with your speaking.
Mr. Ehrlichman, are you there? Mr. Ehrlichman, I'll give you one more chance and then I'll have to move on. Mr. Ehrlichman, are you there? Okay, thank you. Mr. Ehrlichman is no longer a deputant. I could hold this one down and proceed with the next application and come back to it.
Mr. Ehrlichman, you are unmuted if you are able to speak. And it did sound like there was some background noise coming from your end.
Okay, I'm going. Ms. Bassani, my apologies. I'm just going to hold your application down and proceed to the next application. I'll come back. Maybe Mr. Ehrlichman will feel more inclined to speak at that time. Thank you, Ms. Bassani. I'm sorry. Proceed
Thank you.
to item number 3, 295 Broadway Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That's Neil Kelly. Are you there, Mr. Kelly?
I'm here, sir. Hi there.
Yes, Mr. Kelly. Can I get your full name and address, please?
It's Neil Kelly, 295 Broadway Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, there's a report from City Planning dated the 2nd of February. It indicates that if committee approves your application, it recommends that permeable materials be used in constructing the driveway. Have you had a chance to read that report, sir?
Yes, our plan is to use permeable paving.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm just going to, it's pretty clear what you're asking for in the variances before us. We have no other persons registered to speak. I'll just ask, sir, is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't in the material that we have before us today?
Well, to be honest, I started this process on my own. I've never done this before. When I first received the letter back from the city, they noted a couple things. And essentially what I was hoping to do was request a deferral. I just want to kind of get my ducks in order as to meeting what the requirements are and speak to the designer who made these drawings for me. Is it possible to request a deferral on this?
I'm sorry, Mr. Kelly, can you repeat that?
I'm asking if it's possible to request a deferral on this meeting.
Okay, and what would be the purpose of the deferral, sir?
Well, I'm not positive that I filled everything out properly. Like if,
sir,
if you're telling me that everything's
you're
okay.
cutting out on us. We can't hear you.
So I'm not positive that I've addressed everything properly in my initial application.
Oh, so you think you've left out some items that need to be on the variance?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. What the letter I got had requested variances by zoning law and listed some items that didn't exactly, my plans didn't exactly fall under. And I was hoping to speak with someone, that I would hire to kind of help me address these items that were mentioned.
Okay, sir, well, I'll just,
if that's necessary. If that, if that's necessary. If it's not, then that's fine too. We can proceed right
well,
now.
sir, you have to tell me, do you want to defer your application?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. I have a request from the applicant to defer his application to, I guess, to recheck the variances he's requesting. Could I get a motion on the deferral request? Pardon me, is there any questions of the speaker first?
Yes. Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Mr. Khan,
Yeah.
please proceed.
Thank you, sir. Applicant, I would like to ask you why you are asking for deferral. Is there any specific out of these 6 variances that you will satisfy us that it will meet in future the bylaws, zoning bylaws, and it will comply? What item you have in mind or items in mind which will satisfy us?
To be honest, sir, like this is a bit above my head. I feel like I should have hired someone to deal with this originally, and that's what I'm trying to. I've honestly never done this before, so I just want to make this process as smooth as possible and have the highest likely outcome that it'll be approved.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have a motion.
Ms. Sanker?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I agree with the applicant. It seems that there is some confusion on this, and I would like to give him the opportunity to work that out for the, a fair outcome for him. So I will motion to defer this application sine die.
Thank you, Ms. Sanker. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Hunter, you in favor? We lost Mr. Hunt. Mr. Khan?
No, I'm here, Mr. Chair. Yes, I'm in favor.
Okay. Mr. Khan's in favor as well. That motion carries. Sir, your application has been deferred sine die so that you can correct your application. I also suggest that you reach out to City Planning and Transportation Services to discuss your application before you come back to the committee.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can we go back to item number 2?
Yes, we'll go
I
back.
phoned Henry Earlman up, and he's only going to listen. He's not going to speak, he said.
Okay, all right. We're back to item number 2, 200 Fairbank Avenue. Mr. Ehrlichman is just here to listen. Okay, Ms. Bassani, I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions of the agent for the application. There is no one else wishes to speak on this item. So if the committee has any questions of the original speaker, Ms. Bassani? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. Hunt?
Do you not have my video?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay, great. I have a motion then, please. I would move, based on the testimony, I would move approval of this subject to the recommended conditions outlined in planning report dated February 3rd, and that the consent be subject to registration of all easements as per Aird and Burles LLP letter of November 19th, 2020.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second Mr. Hunt's motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning and development engineering conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Item number 4, 186 Shell Avenue. I have one person registered to speak, Tony Enriquez. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Hello, sir. We have your application before us. I note that there's no other persons registered to speak, and we have no staff comments or conditions attached to the report. I just wanted to ask, is there anything, sir, that you'd like to tell the committee? It's pretty clear what you're asking for in your application. I'm just going to ask, is there anything that you'd like to add that the committee doesn't have before it this morning?
There's only two minor things that I would like to point out. One is that variance number 1, 3, 4, and 5 are all existing. And the only variance that we're actually requesting that's new is item number 2. And actually we're asking 3 inches more in length. And the only reason for that was according to my calculations, I thought I was at the 17 meters, and the examiner actually came up with a few inches more. That's the only thing. And the second point that I'd like to point out is that variance number 3, where we're projecting forward, we're actually reconstructing a bay window at the front, and the variance we're requesting is actually less than the existing variance.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to mention, I noticed that when I was out to look at the site that almost all of your front yard is hard landscaped.
Yes, we are proposing to reduce some of that landscape, and we're going to have some soft landscape. Okay,
I know it's not an issue of that's described in the variance here, sir, but you may want to it looks like you have front yard parking that's not authorized, so I suggest you deal with that issue at some time in the future. That could come back to haunt you when you try and sell your house. So anyway, that's just a warning. Anyhow, I'll just ask the committee, again, we have no other persons registered to speak on this application. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask the committee, does it have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I think that this is simple, given that most of the variances are already existing and they've done better than that for variance number 3, and it's really just variance number 2, which is minor in my eyes. I'll motion to approve this application.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? I've lost the video for Mr. Khan, Mr. Kidd, and Mr. Hunt, so if you could please.
Hunt seconds.
I'm sorry.
Hunt seconds.
Okay, Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Khan and Mr. Kidd, are you in favor?
I'm in favor. Paul
Mr.
Kidd.
Khan, are you in favor?
Yes, sir, I'm in favor.
Okay, thank you. That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Now on item number 5, 23 Birchwood Avenue. I have 5 people registered to speak. The agent, Hamed Behesht, are you there?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Arshang Behesht from Homeland, 49 Wycliffe Crescent.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask if you've had the can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Arshang Behesht from Homeland at 49 Wycliffe Crescent.
Thank you, sir. I wanted to ask if you've had the opportunity to see the city planning report dated the 17th of February. They appear to have no objections to your application, provided that the proposal is developed substantially in accordance with the side exterior main wall heights as shown on the north and side elevation drawings attached to their report. Have you had the opportunity to read that report, sir?
Yes, I have, Mr. Chair, and we have no problems with that condition.
Okay, thank you, sir. I note that we have 4 other persons registered to speak, sir, so if you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see are the merits of your proposal.
Yes, of course, Mr. Chair. Thank you, and good morning to members of the committee and to committee staff. We have 6 minor variances before us today, which I will go through and explain. Now, if I could please ask committee staff to kindly display slide number 1 of the presentation package, which was submitted to the committee. Thank you very much. Now, variances number 1 and 2 speak to the increased height of the exterior side walls, which have only been increased at the small areas highlighted in pink. And if we could please move to slide number 2, we can see a similar scenario in which the increased wall height has been resulted from the creation of adequate windows in order to allow for natural light into the spaces on the 2nd floor, which face the sides of the home. Next, variance number 3 addresses the building length, which has only been increased at the small area we can see highlighted in blue, which is in front of the garage portion only with a height of just 8 feet. If we could please see slide number 3, thank you, I see it's on the screen, we can see that the length variance in blue, which surrounds the garage, and in fact, the garage itself is not a part of this building length increase. If we could please move to slide number 4, we can see this more clearly, that the encroachment, again highlighted in blue, is not part of the interior of the home, but rather an exterior decorative architectural element in the form of a masonry pedestal which surrounds the door of the garage. Now, if I could please see slide number 5, the next minor variance speaks to the increased size of the balcony, with the increased portion of which is highlighted there in orange. It's a faint orange color, which you can see at the rear of the building as a part of the balcony. And if I could please see slide number 6, I'd like to speak about the projection of the rear yard deck. The line we can see there in red represents the maximum building depth. We could, without raising any minor variances, push the entire building back to that red line, at which point our deck could project a further 2.5 meters from the red line, all while removing the variance that currently exists. So in reality, the deck could, by law, project even further into the rear yard than it does now, had the main building been pushed slightly further back. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll move to the next deputant. I have a Michael Van Vlymen. Are you there, sir?
I am here.
Yes, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Michael Van Vlymen, 14 York Road.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
It's a generic thought, if you don't mind. I built a house on 14 York Road 20 years ago and sought no variances. I am bothered. Small variances become big variances. They become history and are used again by others in requesting variances and become easier and easier to accept. My general comment is I don't like variances, and I think we're generally going in that direction more and more, and that really is my comment. I can't specifically, I see from the detailed drawings that were provided by the applicant that they appear to be minor. I don't live right next door, and I know there are others who are going to comment who do live right next door, so I don't want to take away any of their thunder. The point is variances are, and especially on the deck on the back, if I were living right next door to the applicant, regardless of the fact that the building could have been extended further and then not a variance on the deck, it begins to impinge on houses that have not been built recently and hence are not of the size that is being recommended here, and hence does impact on the local neighborhood. End of my comments.
Thank you very much, sir. Any questions of the speaker? Being none, we'll go to the next person on our list.
I have a question, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chair, I have a question for the applicant. Sir, you have spoken in general. Would you be kind enough to mention what particular variance is bothering you? You have to be very specific. We are not here for general things. We are here if you have a concern out of these 6 variances, which one is bothering you?
The last one, sir, which was specific to the deck and how far it proceeds from the back of the building.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions of the speaker? Go to the next person, our next registered speaker. I have a Yufeng Zhao. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, members, they are not present.
Okay, thank you. I'll move to the next person on the list. I have a Paula Goldsmith. Are you there? Paula Goldsmith?
Yes, I'm Leslie Goldsmith.
Yes, could I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, Leslie Hal Goldsmith, and the address is 115 Beechwood Avenue in North York.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. My wife and I live on Beechwood Avenue, which is one of the streets perpendicular to Birchwood, and our comments are with respect to the visibility of the proposed property from our backyard. So we when we look out at our backyard, we see the property and we are concerned about the variances that have been requested in two ways. The first is that the increased footprint of the property, and particularly the increased elevation on one of the walls, which certainly is not a minor variance, 2 meters is certainly not minor, is going to have an impact on the sunlight that's available to our property from the backyard. We spend a lot of time in that yard and looking out at it, as we are in fact at the moment. The second family, if you like, of objection has to do with the deck. And once again, looking out at our backyard, we value the privacy that we have right now. And we recognize that a deck at the elevation proposed and the size proposed will have an impact on our ability to enjoy the privacy that we have. To a comment that was made earlier by another speaker, we have a general concern. I know we don't want to talk generalities, but about variances being allowed because it sets a precedent for the neighborhood. And we are about to, I think, see quite a bit of construction in this neighborhood. As one of the people who is vested in not so much preserving the texture of the neighborhood as it is now, but being cautious about the way in which it evolves over time, we want to be sure that any changes, any violations or extensions of the bylaws are done with reason and with cause. Bylaws are there for a purpose, and we feel it's appropriate to uphold them, especially when it affects the privacy of people who have moved into this neighborhood under the best of intentions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions of the speaker? Thank you. Any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to our next speaker, our last registered speaker. I have a Julia Mendelson. Are you there?
Yes.
Madam, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, Julia Mendelson, 119 Beechwood Avenue.
Okay, thank you. If you could give us your thoughts on this application.
Yes, we are perpendicular to the street where the house will be constructed. We're a few doors down, but given the variance requested for the deck and the balcony, their elevations in particular will disrupt the privacy that most of the houses down Beechwood and York will currently have because of the elevation. The house that is being, the proposal for 23 Birchwood being that the deck and the balcony are elevated higher than virtually all others around, and they're seeking greater depth to them. They will be sitting up high looking down this corridor of backyards and affecting everyone's privacy.
Okay, madam, can I ask what's in your backyard? Do you have a lot of trees?
We have some trees, yes, but these trees will not be sufficient to block, and we don't have them on that side, on the west facing, which is where they're looking down.
Are there also mature trees in the 2 yards west of yours? 2 rear yards west of yours?
There are, certainly next to us, the first house next to us. But again, the age of these trees, they're nearing the end of their lives in some cases. So they're not always going to be there to give us.
But right now they're there, correct?
Yes, but the house next to us that has some mature trees, that will be knocked down and a new house will be built there. So we have no idea what they're proposing to do with whatever trees currently exist.
Okay, thank you, madam. Any questions of the speaker? Okay, we'll go back to Mr. DeHest. Are you there, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, you've heard the comments from the previous speakers. If you'd like to respond.
Yes, thank you very much. If I could please ask committee staff to display slide number 2 of the presentation package, I will address the concerns of the neighbors. Now, the first point of concern seems to be the size of the home. Ms. Tuff of 25 Birchwood Avenue mentions in their letter that the general idea for these variances seems to be to only increase the height and length of the structure. Mr. Mendelson of 119 Beechwood Avenue writes that variances 1, 2, 3, and 6 exceed the length and height allowed, and Ms. Goldsmith of 115 Beechwood Avenue writes that the variances serve to create a dwelling that is oversized, and specifically variances 1, 2, 3, and 6 increase the exterior dwelling footprint and elevation. Well, Mr. Chair, in terms of height, variances number 1 and 2 have nothing to do with the overall height of the building. They exist for the creation of windows for spaces on the second floor which face the sides of the home. And in terms of variance number 6, for height under the old bylaw, ignoring for a second the fact that the variance is increased by 7 centimeters for a building that can have a total height of 10 meters by law. The old bylaw is measured to the midpoint of the roof. The real height and size of the building, literally how high the building goes, is measured under the new bylaw to the ridge of the roof, which we have followed. And in terms of the building footprint, some variances which would allow an increase in footprint and size could be a front yard setback, side yard setbacks, rear yard setback, and most importantly, a lot coverage increase, none of which exist in this proposal. As I previously explained, the building length variance speaks to a 1.5 foot protrusion of an architectural element that is not part of the interior of the building itself. None of the requested variances add to the footprint, size, or overall height of the actual home. Now, Mr. Chair, if I could please see slide number 7. The style and character of the home comes into question. Ms. Mendelson writes that new homes should be in keeping with the overall character of the area, and Ms. Goldsmith mentions that changes to the area should be in keeping with the overall character of the neighborhood. We couldn't agree more. That's exactly why when we undertake a design, extensive amounts of research and visits are done on the neighborhood, and in order to understand the character and the spirit of the neighborhood that it possesses. It's how we conduct every one of our designs, including the one we can see on the screen, which is just a few houses away at 122 Beechwood Avenue. A traditional and unique mix of Victorian and Tudor styles is the character we felt from this beautiful and highly developed neighborhood, and interpreted that in this design, from which we got and continue to get an abundance of positive feedback from both our peers and specifically the neighbors of the surrounding area. And when we do propose minor variances, Mr. Chair, they are justified. If I could please see slide number 8, we can see the original zoning notice for our current proposal, which we worked hard to even further reduce by removing items such as an increased lot coverage, an increased height for a 1-story extension, and a reduced building length. And if I could please see slide number 9, the last points of concern with that of the neighbors are shadows and privacy. The subject home, blocked in gray, overlooks only green space, the rearmost portion of other backyards. No other home has a direct view to even the backyard of our property, let alone to the rear wall of the building. And more so, all of the neighbors have complained about the shadow the home will cast on their properties, including number 119 Beechwood Avenue, who is several houses away. The only home that will be affected by shadow is our neighbor immediately to the north at 25 Birchwood Avenue. No other neighbor will be affected by a shadow on even their property, let alone their actual home. And if we move on to slide number 10, we can see this in better detail. Ms. Tuff of 25 Birchwood Avenue mentions that our increased building length and height casts a larger shadow on their home. The shadow cast by the 8-foot-high decorative feature, which adds to the building length, can be seen in red. It does not even reach our neighbor's home. And again, our variance for height doesn't interfere with the overall building height and therefore has no effect on shadow. Conversely, the area you see in blue is the shadow that the proposal would cast, which is the exact same shadow that the house would have if it was built outright without any minor variances. Mr. Chair, we can certainly appreciate the neighbors' concerns for privacy. If I can see slide number 11, though, we can see the rear yard of our property of 23 Birchwood Avenue, which is lined with a host of evergreen and maple mature trees. But let alone that, we are appreciating the neighbors' concerns for privacy, and we would like to remove number 4 and number 5 completely regarding the increased deck and balcony sizes. And likewise, Mr. Chair, I hope that the neighbors can appreciate the time that we put towards our designs, similar to the time that we put towards our presentations to help our neighbors to better understand not only that our variances, please? Of course, Mr. Chair, our variances are not only minor, but that our designs as a whole are conscientiously crafted so as to truly leave a positive mark on both our neighborhoods and on our city. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, can I get a motion on this application, please?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I do have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Kidd?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just not clear from the applicant there. Are you proposing to delete variance number 4 and 5?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, I am. I am removing completely variances number 4 and 5, removing them.
Okay, so.
Thank you.
So, sir, you're proposing to delete the second-story rear yard platform variance, which is number 4, and the proposed rear deck projection of 3.05 meters from the rear wall. Both of those variances you're deleting?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so that's a revised application, so we're only dealing with variances number 1, 2, 3, and 6. So could I get a motion on variances 1, 2, 3, and 6? Could I get a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to put forward a motion if I could.
Mr. Kidd, you're breaking up on us.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to put forward a motion if I could.
Oh, we've lost you, Mr. Kidd.
Mr. Kidd, go ahead, make your motion.
Okay, after listening to all the parties here today, in the end, I am persuaded that by the agent that this is an appropriate application. As amended, I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application with the deletion of item number 4 and number 5, and subject to the condition that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the side exterior main wall heights as shown on the north and side elevation drawings attached to this report.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second Mr. Kidd's motion?
Second.
Mr. Hunt, was that, can you, we've lost the video feed, so if you can please.
Oh, okay, I second.
Okay, Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor. Mr. Khan, are you in favor? You're in
Yes,
favor?
sir.
Ms. Singh,
In favor.
are you in favor?
In favor, yes.
Okay, thank you. Sir, your
Thank you, committee
application's
members.
been unanimous. Your revised application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Now on to item number 7. That's, pardon me, item number 6, 156 Kingsdale Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is William Ross. Are you there? William Ross, are you there?
Mr. Chair and members, Bill Ross is present and he is unmuted.
Mr. Ross, can you hear us? We'll come back to item number 6. We'll go forward to item number 7, 349 Manor Road East. I have one person registered to speak. That is Brendan Charters. Are you there?
I am, Mr. Chair. Hello, members of the committee. I am Brendan Charters from Eurodale Design Build. Our address is 1189 Lawrence Avenue West, Suite 7, Toronto, Ontario.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, we have comments from Urban Forestry as recommended condition. We also have comments from Transportation Services dated the 16th of February 2021, and their report indicated that they had some changes they would like made to your plan. Basically, seem rather administrative in nature. Have you had an opportunity to read that report, sir?
I have, Mr. Chair, and we immediately engaged with Transportation Services on this. Many of the items that they were seeking on the site plan were present on the survey. So as you note, it was an administrative exercise, which we provided them immediately with that information. And with the help of application technician Jenny Kotis, we had convinced them to resubmit a letter rescinding their deferral request. We are very respectful of the time it takes to get on this hearing schedule and for those that are coming behind us, and we did not want to take up a space unnecessarily. So they have submitted a letter through Jenny Kotis to the Committee of Adjustment that rescinded the request of deferral. So they only have a couple of comments that are requesting that the homeowners apply for a permit.
Ms. Kotas has put it on the screen. They indicate, the revised app indicates they have no objections to your application. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for clarifying that. I notice we have no other persons registered to speak on your application.
We have 4 letters of
support. Ms. Kotas, can you just go further up on the Transportation Services report? Sir, you're also, I'm sorry to go back on this. The revised report we got from Transportation Services still makes the reference to the requirement that you need to apply for front yard parking?
That is correct. As is fairly typical on Manor Road, there are 161 examples on 1.79 kilometers of road of these approved parking spaces. So we have no issue with that condition.
You understand that that's one of their conditions is you have to apply for front yard parking?
We are okay with that condition, yes.
So you understand that's a separate process, separate from the Committee of Adjustment process?
We do, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll just ask, pretty clear what you're asking for in your application, sir. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't in the material that we have before us today?
The only element, if you visited the site, you will notice that we are actively under construction. There is a site-specific bylaw that permits the first story rear addition to be built the same size as we have designed here. Many of these variances noted are existing conditions. The crux of the variances before you relate to the second story addition. As I noted, while you were referencing the transportation letter, there are 4 letters of support, including the 2 immediate neighbors to this project. So we do have permits to do the work that we are undertaking there actively now for the first story addition, underpinning and renovations. And these variances before you are predominantly related to the parking piece and the second story of that addition. We believe that they do meet the 4 tests of the Planning Act.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please?
Mr. Speaker, Ron Hunt. Yes, I would move that in light of the revision from the Transportation Department dated February 21st and the testimony of the applicant, I would move approval of this. Sorry, were you able to hear me?
Mr. Hunt, that's the Transportation Services report is dated the 24th of February, 2021.
Okay, 24. I saw 21 on the footer, but okay, February 24th.
Okay, someone to second Mr. Hunt's motion?
I'll second it, Mr. Chair.
Shankar seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Khan's in favor. Mr. Kidd, are you in favor?
Yeah, I'm in favor.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you kindly.
Sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Go back to item number 6, 156 Kingsdale Avenue. William Ross, are you there? Mr. Ross, are you there?
I think you need to unmute. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Ross, thank you. Can we get your full name and address, please?
It's Bill Ross, 9 Bestwick Lane, Uxbridge, Ontario, L9P 1G4.
Okay, thank you, sir. I wanted to ask if you've had the opportunity, there's a city planning report dated the 11th of February, and it's recommending modifications to your application, specifically variance number 2, which is for the proposed side exterior main wall height, reducing it from 9.76 meters to 8.99 meters, and modifying variance number 3 for the proposed building height from 10.62 meters to 9.6 meters. Are you proposing to make those changes, sir?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so let me just get this down.
Mr. Ross, can you officially read them into the record then for us? Thank you.
Yep. Item number 2, where it says the proposed height of the side exterior main walls facing the side lot line
is 9.76, should be changed to 8.99. 8.99. And section 3, where it says the proposed building height is 10.62, that should be modified to 9.6.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to also mention that report indicates that if committee decides to approve your application, it shall be developed substantially in accordance with the east and west elevation drawings. Date stamped is received on February 8th, 2021 by the Committee of Adjustment and is attached as attachment 1 and 2 to their report. So I'm sure it's obvious, sir, you've had a chance to read that report.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm just going to ask, it's pretty clear what you're asking for in the variances. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments. No. Mr. Ross, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us today?
No, I think everything's contained there. The variances are all manual. We've worked with staff closely, and we're happy with their report.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll just ask again, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I have a motion, which is a recommendation by the staff. And before that, various 2 and 3 have been modified. And staff has recommended that it should be developed substantially in accordance with the east and west elevation drawings dated February 8, 2021 by the Committee of Adjustment and attachment 1 and 2 of this report. This application be approved.
Thank you very much.
With conditions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 8, 6 Lauderdale Drive.
I've never had that.
I have one person registered to speak. That's a John Kwan. Are you there, sir? John Kwan, are you there, sir?
Mr. Chair and committee members, John is present and John is unmuted. John, go ahead with your to just communicate.
John Kwan, are you there? We'll move ahead to the next item. Item number 9.
Mr. Chair, before we go on, John, if you can just log off and log back on and authorize the audio connection, that should probably solve the problem. We'll double back to you in a moment.
Can I move ahead? Okay. We'll proceed. We'll have move one item ahead. Item number 9, 34 Drysdale Crescent. I have one person registered to speak. That's Shinsu Zhang. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, thank you, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, my name is Shensu Zhang, architect, 98 Scottsdale Road, North York.
Okay, thank you, sir. I note that we have no other persons registered to speak on this application, and there are no staff comments or conditions recommended by the municipality. So, and I think it's pretty clear what you're asking for in the variances we have before us. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee, sir, that isn't in the material that the committee has before us this morning?
No, we haven't. We don't have anything to change, and then that's yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think these are minor variances which comply zoning bylaws, and there is no staff recommendation. So I would move this application be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Kidd, are you in favor? We've lost your video.
I'm in favor.
Okay, thank you.
I'm in favor.
Thank you. That motion carries unanimously. Mr. Zhang, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go back to item number 8, 6 Lauderdale Drive. Is the Mr. John Kwan there? Mr. John Kwan, are you there?
Members and Mr. Chair, John is still present in the call, and he is unmuted.
Okay, Mr. Kwan, I'm going to move, you're not responding. I'm going to have to move your application to the end of the agenda. Thank you. Item number 10, I have, that's 534 St. Clements Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is a Drew Laszlo. Are you there, sir?
I am indeed.
Yes, thank you, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, Drew Laszlo, 3317 Young Street.
Yes, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, there's a report attached to your file from City Planning dated the 2nd of February. They appear to indicate that they have no objections to your application, provided the property is developed substantially in accordance with the site plan and west side elevation drawings submitted to the Committee of Adjustment attached as attachments 1 and 2 to their report. Have you had an opportunity to read that report, sir?
Yes, I have. And of course, I have no problems with that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't in the material that we have before us today? I mean, what you're asking for is pretty clear, and I think the committee's very certain on what you're asking for.
No, I think I'm good to go.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question to the applicant is about his variance number 3, floor space index 0.73 times the lot, while you are only allowed 0.6 times the lot. Why so high?
I think what it comes down to is if you keep in mind that we conform to sort of all setbacks, the maximum length, we conform to the general setbacks so the resulting gross floor area is in actuality 69%. 4 of the percent that is being sought today is in the garage only. So in reality, we are only at a 69% house, which I do not feel is I believe that to be minor, quite minor, compared to other, what else has been granted in the neighborhood.
But Mr. Leslie, you are only allowed 0.6. That's the maximum you are allowed. You're way high.
Again, I don't believe that to be high. And again, that is just the resulting gross floor area to really conforming to all the setbacks. So we do conform to front yard, rear yard, side yards, length.
Okay,
and we just
thank you,
end
sir.
up with the 69%.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I accept the explanations provided by the applicant here today. I do believe that it is minor in nature, and I accept those explanations about the garage space. And I will put forward a motion to approve this application, and it's going to be subject to the February 2nd staff report, in that the property be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan and west side elevation drawing submitted to the committee, and also subject to forestry. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? All those in favor? Mr. Khan, are you in favor?
Yes, Hunt is.
No, sir, I'm opposing.
Okay, thank you. Sir, your application has been approved with Mr. Khan dissenting, and your application is your approval is subject to city planning and urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're now on to item number. Actually, I'll go back. Item number 8, 6 Lauderdale Drive. Mr. John Kwan, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Kwan.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Hi, good morning, Mr. Chairman and the committee.
Okay, thank
Hi,
you, sir.
Mr. Khan. This is John Kwan.
Sir, can I get your full
from-
name and address, please?
Yes, my name is John Kwan from KO and Partners. Address is 333 Dennison Street in Markham, Ontario.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm just going, just a moment here. Just wanted to ask, sir, if you've had the opportunity to read the city planning report of the 17th of February. They appear to indicate that they have no objections to your application, provided that the
Oh,
proposal
no, I
is
didn't.
developed substantially in accordance with the front yard setback measured to the enclosed front porch as shown on the site plan drawing attached to their report. You had the opportunity to read that report, sir?
No, I didn't. I didn't have a copy of that.
Okay, thank you,
So
sir.
basically, we got the support from the planning staff. Am I right?
Well, sir, just a moment. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't in the material that we have before us today?
Oh, no, I just may need to clarify the owner. They have no intention to increase the floor area of their house or to increase the living area. To add a new door to the at the front porch is mainly for security reason, because the owner, the lady, she always at home by herself, and she doesn't feel safe, and her husband has to travel all the times,
Sir,
you know,
sir,
outside for business.
Sir,
Yeah.
can you please, if you're going, do you have anything more to tell the committee on the three variances that we have before us today that isn't in the material that we have before us? So what your
No,
comments,
no.
your comments have to relate to your, to the variances you're requesting.
Oh, no, just as per our application to permit the coverage increase from 30% to 30.37%.
We know that. Do you have anything
Yes,
more
yes.
to add that isn't in the material we have?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker?
No.
No? Can I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Based on the recommendation of the February 17th, 21 planning report, I would move approval of this subject to the proposal being developed substantially in accordance with the front yard setback measured to the enclosed front porch.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt.
Someone to second that motion?
Second one.
Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? Ms. Sankar is in favor. Mr. Kidd, are you in favor?
I'm in favor.
Thank you, sir. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 11, actually, I think. Members of the committee, would you like to take a brief recess? 5 minutes? Thank you. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, committee is back in session. We're now on item number 11, 77 MCRAE Drive. I have one person registered to speak. That is Mahir Manios. Are you there? Mr. Manios, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Can I get your full name and address?
Mahir Manias, 1 Teakwood Grove, Toronto.
Thank you, sir. We have a report from City Planning dated the 17th of February, 2021. It appears to indicate that they have no objections to your application, provided that the proposal is developed substantially in accordance with the east side yard setback as shown on the site plan drawing attached to their report. Have you had an opportunity to read that report, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have no objection to the condition.
Okay, thank you, sir. Pretty clear what you're asking for in the 7 variances that we have before us. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't in the material the committee has before us this morning?
The only thing I'll mention, Mr. Chair, is we submitted a list of summary of previous applications which were approved. It just shows that we're within the realm of what's been approved before in the past for new houses and additions. And also the side yard setback on the east side is only at the pinch point at the front. Because of the irregular lot, it actually increases to 0.93 towards the back of the house. And I'm happy to answer any questions from the committee.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please?
Mr. Chair, I can make a motion. Through you, Mr. Chair, I agree with your views on this application. I do believe that it is minor in nature, and I'll put forward a motion, especially in light of the support that I see on file here. I'll put forward a motion to approve this application, and I'll make it subject to the February 17th staff report that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the east side yard setback as shown in the site plan drawing. And that's my motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. I've lost the video feed for Mr. Hunt and Mr. Kidd, so if there's someone who'd like to, Mr. Khan, are you seconding Ms. Sankar's motion?
Yes, sir, I'm second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Mr. Hunt, are you in favor?
I'm in favor.
Thank you. Mr. Kidd,
I'm in
are you
favor. I'm in favor.
Thank you. That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Now proceed to item number 12. 141 Blythwood Road. I have one person registered to speak. That is a Peter McNeil. Are you there, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask if there's a couple of...
Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask if there's a couple of reports here. One from City Planning dated the 2nd of February. They appear to have no objections to your application on condition that the property is developed substantially in accordance with the site plan and east side elevation drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment attached as attachments 1 and 2 to their report. And there's also recommended conditions from Heritage Toronto in their report dated the 18th of February. Have you had the opportunity to read those 2 reports, sir?
Yes, I have, and we have no objections to the reports.
Okay, thank you, sir. Pretty clear what you're asking for in the 5 variances we have before us. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't in the material that we have before us this morning?
Yes, just a couple things I'd like to point out. Toronto Heritage was engaged early in the design process to ensure that the proposed design is contextual, sensitive, and helps to support the heritage character of the district. We worked with the heritage planner on multiple design iterations and ultimately arrived at a scheme that meets those heritage objectives as noted in the heritage report on file. Our clients have discussed the proposal with their adjacent neighbors and received a letter of support from their next door neighbors to the west. As noted in the staff report on file, the 21.88 meter length is due to the specific shape of the building and applies to the first floor only on the west side of the property. The building length of the second story is only 15.9 meters along the west and 17.27 meters along the east. As you can see from the site plan, the new addition extends only 2.4 meters from the existing home, is almost completely 1 story in height, and does not reach as far south as the existing garage. We believe the variances sought today are well supported and minor in nature, and believe the project will be a welcome addition to the neighborhood. Thank you.
I can't hear you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion on this application. Thank you. Your voice is lowered, just to let you know, if in case we can't hear you as well. But I'll make a motion based on what the applicant has said here today. I accept those explanations, and I will move to approve this application. I'll make it subject to the February 2nd staff report, and that the property be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan and east side elevation drawings that was submitted to the committee, as well as the February 18th Heritage staff report and their recommendations as well. That's my motion.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion?
Second.
Mr. Hunt
Ron
seconds.
Hunt.
All those in favor?
I'm in favor.
Mr. Khan's in favor. That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to city planning and Heritage Toronto conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now on item number 13, 119 Alamosa Drive. I have 3 people registered to speak. I have, the first person is the agent, and Ali Yi. Are you there? Ali Yi, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, thank you, madam.
Can you
I
hear
get
me?
your full name and address, please?
My name is Ali Yi from Alera Engineering and Construction. I'm an agent for the address at 119 Alamosa Drive.
Thank you, madam. I just
Mr. Chair and members, the other 2 people that were wishing to speak are not present on the call at this time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wills. So the only person speaking is the agent, Ms. Yi. Madam, I just wanted to ask, there's a report from City Planning dated the 17th of February, and they're indicating that they'd like the following modifications made to your application, which is to eliminate variances number 8 and 9 regarding the side yard setbacks of the rear platform. Are you prepared to make those changes, madam?
Yes, I read on the report and will be meet the require. We delete the number item 9 and item 8.
Okay, so you're proposing to revise your application so that variances number 8 and 9 are deleted?
Yes.
Okay, variances 8 and 9 are deleted. Thank you. One of their conditions was if the committee approves your revised application that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the front side yard setback as shown on the site plan drawing attached to the report. You've had the opportunity to read this report, obviously, madam?
Yeah, I read on the report.
Thank you. There was also 2 reports, one from Transportation Services and one from the TRCA, dated the 15th of February and the 11th of February, respectively, and I note that both those reports have no objections to your application. Now,
Yes.
madam, I just wanted to ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't in the material that the committee has before us this morning? Is there anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, because I did a research from the decision before the committee adjustment in that surrounding area. I think we are request is minor in future in nature. So I hope I can have a committee member approve.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application? Please note that has been revised. Variances number 8 and 9 have been deleted. Can I get a motion on this application?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to put forward a motion if I could. I think the proposal as amended meets the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaws. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application with the following revision. Items number 8 and 9 to be deleted, and subject to the condition that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the front yard setback as shown on the site plan drawing attached to the planning staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? Ms. Sanker, are you in favor?
I am in favor. I thought you could see me.
Yeah, we can't. We've lost your video feed. Mr. Hunt, are you in favor?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Thank you very much. That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your revised application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 14, 39 Drysdale Crescent. I have one person registered to speak. That is the agent, Shensu Zhang. Are you there?
Yes, hi. Hi again.
Thank you, sir. I have a report from city planning on your application. It's dated the 17th of February. They indicate they have no objections, provided on condition that the proposal is developed substantially in accordance with the building height as shown on the north and south side elevation drawings attached to their report. Have you had the opportunity to read that report, sir?
Yes, I have read it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just wanted to ask, I think the committee's pretty clear on what you're asking for in the variances we have before us. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't in the material that it has before us today?
No, we don't have any changes. We have those variances mainly because of the architecture style.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please?
Ron Hunt.
Mr. Hunt?
Mr. Chair, I would.
Mr. Hunt, we've lost your audio.
Oh, do you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I would move approval of this application, subject to the condition of the February 17th planning report that the dwelling be developed is substantially in accordance with the building height as shown on the north and south elevation drawings submitted to the Committee of Adjustment.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second Mr. Hunt's motion?
Seconded. I second.
Yeah, Mr. Khan seconds. Ms. Sanker, are you in favor?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Kidd, are you in favor?
I'm in favor.
Thank you. That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Now on item number 15, 15 Tanager Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That's Eddie Perez. Are you there, sir?
Hello, good morning, Chairman and committee members. I'm Eddie Perez. I'm here on behalf of the owner.
Yes, Mr. Perez, I note that we don't have any staff comments or conditions that are recommended to be attached to your approval if the committee sees merit in it. I think what you're asking for is pretty clear to the committee. I'm just going to ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that it doesn't have in the material that's before us today?
No, I submitted everything that was needed, a cover letter and such. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Perez. I note that we have no other persons registered to speak on this item. Could I get a motion on this application, please? And I've lost the video. I've lost the video
Okay.
feed for all.
Mr. Chair, I would like to move the motion.
Okay, Mr. Khan.
Thank you, sir. I think these are minor variances, all 1 through 9, and there is no staff recommendation, but I think it meets the zoning bylaws. Therefore, application be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second Mr. Khan's motion.
I'll second it, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Sankar seconds. Mr. Kidd, are you in favor of that motion?
I'm in favor.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt, are you in favor of that motion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. We're now on item number 16, 22 Kirkton Road. I have one person registered to speak. That's a Ken Tai. Are you there, sir?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. I'm Ken Tai from Tai Architect. My address is 12 Rosemount Avenue. Markham.
Thank you very much, sir. Just wanted to ask, there's a city planning report dated the 11th of February, and they're recommending that you modify variance number 3 for the proposed south side yard setback from 1.22 meters to 1.5 meters. Are you willing to do that, sir?
I'm willing to do that. I actually prepare a presentation. I want to actually present it and explain to the committees. Hopefully, if I can get to yeah.
Before we start, sir, are you proposing to make that change as recommended by city planning?
Okay. Yeah. Well, actually, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So you're proposing to change variance number 3 from 1.22 meters to 1.5 meters.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't in the material that we have before us today?
Well, in that case, I don't think so. I think it's clearly explained it. I prepared the material, just indicate that the existing condition is actually a lot smaller. The setback and the south setback is 0.46, and we're actually asking 1.22, and now we like to follow the staff report to 1.5. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this revised application? Please note that variance number 3 has been revised as recommended by planning, so that where it currently reads the proposed south side yard setback is 1.22 meters. That has been increased to the south side yard setback is now 1.5 meters. So if I could get a motion on this revised application, please. Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move approval of this recommendation subject to February 11th planning report, which moves variance number 3 to 1.5 meters from 1.22 meters.
Mr. Hunt, he's already made that change.
Oh, okay. Well, then I approve.
There will be no other
Move approval with no conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second Mr. Hunt's motion. Ms. Sankar seconds.
I second that.
Thank you. All those in favor?
All in favor.
That motion carries unanimously, sir. Your revised application has been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Committee.
Thank you. Item number 17. We're on 29 Greengate Road. I have 3 people registered to speak. Mr. Shakiri, are you there? Ali Shakiri?
Yes, sir. Ali Shakiri, 326 Shepherd Avenue East.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Shakiri, I just wanted to ask, there are 2 other people registered to speak.
Mr. Chair and members, Mr. Chair
Yes.
And members, the other 2 people that want to speak are not present at this time on the call.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wills. So we have only 1 person registered to speak, and that is the agent, Mr. Shakiri. Mr. Shakiri, I wanted to ask, there is a city planning report dated the 17th of February, and they're recommending that you reduce the coverage from 35% to 32%. Would you like to do that?
Sir, we wish to reduce from 35% to 33%, which is very close to the recommendation. I have an explanation.
Okay, thank you, sir. So variance number 1, which is the coverage variance, you're proposing that right now it currently reads a proposed lot coverage of 35%. What would you like to change it to?
33%.
33%? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you would like to give the committee a brief presentation on the rationale for your change.
Sure. We proposed the 35% of coverage, and we actually saw that report from the planning very late, and it wasn't discussed with us. I tried to get in touch with planning to describe our rationale for that coverage, and it wasn't successful. However, the same material that I submitted here is sent to the planning department. I had no response from them. If we go to the 3rd page and onward, I have submitted some evidence of the coverages approved in the area. For example, this one is number 5 Greengate. By the way, Greengate is very, very small. They don't have more than 40 or 50 houses anyways. But that's number 5 Greengate with 33.7% approved. If we go to the next page or the next page number, yeah, that's the other one, very close to us, number 38, 32.89%, which is very close to the coverage that we're asking for. And there are evidence of the other houses in the area, on Larkfield and on Banbury and on Aldershot. Some of them are up to 35%, and those are all very proximate to us, within 200 or 300 meters. So coming down from 35% to 30% is a huge, there's a huge gap. We really tried to achieve the concept that the owner wishes to have without basically making this whole concept fall apart, and we came down to 33%. And based on the evidence I submitted, we are not basically setting a new precedent. Obviously, we're not saying because they were granted that much we should have it, but we've done our study. If you think that 32% is more appropriate, by all means we accept. But we do feel that 33% is very appropriate, in keeping with the immediate neighborhood, actually lower than many of them. So I have no further comment. If there is any question, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions of the speaker? Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Notwithstanding there is no one else to speak, the evidence provided to us, specifically a February 18th letter from the Don Mills Residents Incorporated, raises concerns regarding large mature trees on the property and other trees on the property and on city property that may be damaged. Now, I know Urban Forestry hasn't made a comment on this, but I'm just asking the applicant, has there been discussion with them with respect to the issues presented about these trees?
Yes, sir. There is. We have applied for the forestry clearance, and maybe that's why they haven't objected to it. And the tree on the city boulevard is basically a very, very small tree. And we have under the design that we have, if we switch to the site plan, you can see that is not even disturbed by the driveway. And there is, yeah, that's the, I mean, if you can please scroll it a little bit higher so we can see that, no, actually lower, I apologize, lower. Yeah, that's, there is a tree that we have put that dimension, 5 feet. No, actually, okay, yes, that one. Very, very, on the left side of the driveway, there's a 5-foot distance from that tree to the driveway. and that is a very, very small tree. It's noted as a 20%, 20 centimeter diameter, but you know, we just take it as that. It's less than it, and we do not intend to remove it. The other 3 trees that are very proximate to the driveway, those are not valuable trees, and the forestry, I understand, has no objection to remove them. Just it's in the process, and we are not basically damaging any other trees. So they're all basically there, and anything we're going to do regarding the trees is going to be reviewed by the forestry department, and if they have any comment or concern, will definitely be taken care of. In absence of any report from the forestry, I don't object if the committee imposes any other condition, if you choose to move to approve, to basically we satisfy the conditions of the forestry department, if any.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, I do have a question, Mr. Chair, through you. And back to the Ratepayers Association, they also raised some concerns about the height, which I'd like you to just comment on. And there was also a letter from a nearby adjacent neighbor by the name of Mr. Barry James Francis, who indicates that a pool is going to be constructed in the backyard, and sort of the same momentum about now around the backyard, that he is concerned about the giant maple tree on the northeast corner, and wondered if that will be impacted, because that impacts him greatly, as his letter states.
Indeed. If I could ask the staff to show my image number 1. And that's basically a graph showing what we're proposing in comparison to a normal mansard roof. I do not see my image one on display.
Is that the site plan, sir?
No. My support material, image 1, the first page of my support material, please. That is not related to the subject case, I would say. I mean, it was shown previously at my beginning remarks.
Yeah, stand by, Ali. We'll have it up in a moment.
Sure, thank you. In the meanwhile, I will address the second question regarding the pool. So we read the letter from our neighbor on the south side, and we submitted another page, which is on the image number 2. We have moved the swimming pool, and we have doubled the distance to the property line from 4.5 feet to 9 feet, which is substantial. Even with 4.5, that wouldn't interfere with the tree. But just out of respect for the neighbor, we moved it. I don't mind if that image be tied to the decision as our acceptance to move the swimming pool. And I do not see my image number 1 to address the height issue.
Perhaps just a simple explanation would do, Mr.
Shakir. I'm sure you're very familiar with this because many of these houses in the area, they have, we have the allowance to go up to 10 meters height with the roof if we use like a mansard or any sort of a sloped roof. This house has a flat roof, and therefore we do ask for just slight like minor variances. Yes, that's pretty good. So that red line depicts a mansard roof that is done as of right. On the right side, you see the 10 meter, which is allowed to be from the established grade to top of the roof. And on the left side, you see the 8.8 meter is to the middle of the roof. So those are like without even asking for any height variance, we can put that sort of roof on top of this. and we do not wish to do that. The yellow area, the yellow shaded area is showing the excessive building mass that's going to be generated if we went with a mansard roof, and that is in excess of 2 meters. So by staying with the flat roof and asking for a little bit of variance, we are majorly decreasing the building mass, which directly affects any sort of shadows to this property and the neighbor's property. And with what we have proposed, this is not only going to be the shortest house in the amongst the new houses in the area. This is going to be staying even lower than many of the existing houses in the area, unless they're bungalows. But this is I would say we are seeking that variance to keep the building short.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to put forward a motion if I could. I accept the explanation provided by the applicant, and I think the proposal as amended meets the intent of the zoning bylaws. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application with the following revision. Item number 1 to read the proposed lot coverage to be changed from 35% to 33%. And also subject to the condition that the variance, without condition, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second Mr. Kidd's motion?
I'll second it.
Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor?
In favor.
Mr. Hunt, are you in favor?
No, I'm opposed.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hunt dissenting. Your application has been approved, sir, without condition. Thank you. The revised application has been approved without condition. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 18, 65 Ridgevale Drive. I have one person registered to speak. Michael Lafreniere, are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
Yes, thank you, sir. I just wanted to note you have one variance before us that's related to a west side yard setback. I note that there are no staff comments or conditions attached to your report. Pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask if you have anything that you'd like to add that isn't in the material that the committee has before it this afternoon.
No, I don't think so. I think everyone can see it's a very small addition. It's just a room above a garage, 22 square meters, using the existing footprint of the garage. On a street with quite a lot of large houses and new houses, this house will still be the smallest house within the sort of neighboring 3 or 4 houses. So they have quite a large backyard and quite low density. The final building, I think, is 142 square meters. So I would say that the side yard setback variance is not a big deal in this case.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Can I make a motion? Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, it's a straightforward minor variance. So I will move this and comply zoning bylaw. It should be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that motion?
Second.
Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 19, 19 BURNCREST Drive. I have one person registered to speak. That is Ali Shakiri. Are you there, sir?
Ali Shakiri, 326 Shepherd Avenue East.
Okay, thank you, sir. It's pretty clear what we have before us in the 5 variances that are here. I note that there's no other persons registered to speak and there are no staff comments or conditions attached to your report. Is there anything that you'd like to add, tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us today?
No comments, sir. Happy to answer any question.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
I have, thank you, sir. The applicant, Mr. Shakiri, are you aware that there is a flooding and high water table informed by the association as well as by the area resident? Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir, we are aware of that, and that's not only that area, many other areas. Having said that, the concept that we have used is raising the basement. Therefore, it's not sunken majorly, and any sort of water issue, surface water issue or flood issue will be dealt with when we apply for the building permit. There will be a grading plan provided by either an Ontario land surveyor or a civil engineer to address any concern of that sort.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I accept the explanations provided by the applicant here today, so I'll put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
Thank you. Someone
Second.
second Ms. Sankar's motion. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Kidd, are you in favor? Yeah, then he's in favor. That
I'm
motion
in,
carries
I'm in
unanimously.
favor.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt, Kidd. That motion carries unanimously, sir. Your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 20, 174 St. Leonard's Avenue. I have two people registered to speak. I have the agent, Mahir Manios. Are you there, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. Mahir Manius, 1 Teakwood Grove, Toronto.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair and members, as a note, the local resident that wanted to participate is not on the call.
Okay, thank you. Yep, that means we only have one person registered to speak, and that's Mr. Manios, the agent. Mr. Manios, I note that there are no staff comments or conditions attached to your report. Also, that what you're asking for is very clear to me, and I think to the committee. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us today?
Just a couple of points, Mr. Chair. Variance number 2, which is the building length, is sort of technical in nature because it's due to the 1-story projection at the back not being set back 3 meters from the side lot line. The actual 2-story portion of the house is just shy of the allowable 17 meters. And we do have the support of the east neighbor. Variance number 5, the soft landscaping. I still don't know how the examiner came up with this number. We come up with almost 80% landscaping, but I did provide a picture of the existing front yard. It's part of the supporting material, and the existing soft landscaping is 21 square meter, where we're proposing 57 square meters. So we're more than doubling what's there already. And the variance to the front porch is actually, it's also existing, so I'm not sure why it's listed as a variance, but it's also an existing condition, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application?
Ron Hunt.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, based on the testimony of the applicant and the fact there's no department comments or conditions, I would move approval of this.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second Mr. Hunt's motion?
I'll second it.
Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor?
In favor.
Yeah. Mr. Kidd, are you in favor?
I'm in favor.
Okay, thank you. That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you. Item number 46. Pardon me, item number 21, 46 Latimer Avenue. I have one person registered to speak, and Albert Yerushalmi. Are you there, sir?
Yes, yes, good afternoon.
Thank you, sir. I have no other persons registered to speak, and I note that there are no staff comments or conditions attached to your report. You have one variance before us that's related to the floor space index. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee, sir, that isn't in the material that we have before us today?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'll just ask the committee, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to ask the applicant about variance number 1, which is the only variance. I find his floor space index very high. I mean, he's allowed 0.6% times the lot, but he's asking for 0.757 times the lot. Why so high?
Sir, I think, Mr. Khan, there was your voice was breaking up there, but I think the gist of your request, Mr. Khan, was you wanted justification for the increase in the floor space index.
Yes.
Yes, sir. That only translates to about 159 square feet. And the house, honestly, is after this increase, is going to be less than 1,500 square feet. It's a very small house, and that sort of addition has been constructed in that area. And we have 10 neighbors' letters of support. And this is a new couple has moved into that area, and that increase in the size of the room really is going to help their house to be fit for them and for their community.
I understand this is a semi-detached house, is it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll motion to approve the application as is. Thank you.
Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously, sir. Your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I
Gentlemen,
appreciate
we
it.
are adjourned till 1:30. My apologies for the choppy video and the choppy audio. Hopefully it'll be better by the time we come back. Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir.